Coach, we kind of discussed hitting all your goals last week. What are kind of your goals heading into this one?
Yeah, for us it is. It's about having the ability to go be 4-0, 1-0 on Saturday. And for us, man, having undefeated non-conference. We've talked about that a ton as a program, as a football team. That's incredibly important for us to be able to start 4-0. We put ourselves in position to do that, but we've got a great test on Saturday at 3.
Sam?
With Northern Illinois being in the MAC, also like Toledo, is there anything from that Toledo game last year that you can maybe apply or talk about going into this week?
Yeah, I think Northern Illinois, what they've done from a program standpoint, they've gone on the road and they've won huge games. And so I think you point to that as much or more than anything, and understand that over the last 4 years, they've went into somebody else's house, Power 4 opponent, and won 3 of the 4 games. They had opportunities to beat NC State. They're throwing it into the end zone last year to go win that game and beat Notre Dame, who gets beat by a touchdown in the national championship game. So I'm constantly trying to point at Northern Illinois and what they've done from a program standpoint. They'll be an incredibly confident unit. Had opportunities to be on the right side of it versus Maryland a couple weeks ago. They've had an open date again. So, man, the urgency our guys got to operate with is crucial.
Steve? One of the things that really jumps out about Northern Illinois' rush defense. I think they're giving up 74 yards a game. You know, what have you seen from that front? What are they doing to be so successful slowing down the run?
Yeah, these guys don't stay blocked. They've done a great job of getting off blocks. It's really hard to dent the interior, and they're a physical bunch with the Mike and the Will backers being guys that play downhill, and the same deal. They don't stay blocked, and so you see this incredible amount of effort. You see this incredible amount of toughness when you watch the tape. You know, we've got to match that, surpass that to be able to go do what we want in the run game.
But hey, Ed and Robbie?
Coach, you had the opportunity to play all 3 of your quarterbacks on Saturday. It seems like those 3 guys, they have that great relationship and they're all there for each other. When you see them celebrating each other, how does that make you feel as a quarterback coach yourself?
Yeah, I think it talks to who they are, but also what's going on inside our building every day. You know, big we, little me, that's what we're talking about nonstop. How can we find ways to help the team? How do we have the ability to make sure that, man, we're embracing our role and doing everything we can just to become the best version of ourselves every day? Those guys are trying to do that, and it's fun to see.
Robbie and Paul?
We talked a lot about the defense and just the increase in depth and talent and things like that. But for you, seeing the huge jump in numbers so far, what's been, what's going into that other than just adding more depth and talent?
Yeah, I think for a lot of these guys, it's year 2 in a system. I mean, I think that's a huge thing. People don't think about that, like how important that is. To be able to go get coached by the same guy and to be year 2 in a system and having great understanding of, man, what are the shortcuts inside our defense? What's the stress of this call? How do I protect the stress? That's about understanding the system. And whether it's Nick Mitch or Hunt, Bravo, and Kelly Jones, and Deontay Anderson, Zachary Tillman, like the list goes on of guys that are playing much better than they were at earlier times in their career, but also understanding it's because their knowledge of what we're trying to get done is sped up.
Obviously, you got to play a lot of guys Saturday and some play for the first time this year. Ray Thomas was one of those, a guy you brought in from Northern Illinois. What did you see from him after watching the film and how he can contribute?
Yeah, Ray did some good things when he got in there. There was some real physicality, which we love to see, and hopefully he can continue to build on that to be able to give us some quality reps inside.
Any update on Jed or Albert or Stonkin?
No, right now I do feel better about Albert. I feel good about Stonkin. Neither one of those guys were cut loose today. Jed is getting back, but again, out of those 3 guys, none of them went all day today. So it's going to have to be the evaluation piece of it as we get later in the week. They need to be able to practice tomorrow and Wednesday for them to go play at a high level.
James?
Where do you guys feel like your level of execution is overall relative to where you think it used to be?
Offensively, as a football team, yeah, I mean, there's a ton to clean up. As we got into the team meeting this morning, I think guys understood that the score was what it was, but there was a lot of things that we got away with on Saturday. And that is the message. the urgency that we operate with to be able to fix the problems that showed up is a huge deal. Again, we were able to overcome some of those things on Saturday. That will not remain the same. We've got to fix it.
Sam?
With last Saturday just being the first game without Will Whitson for a full game, how do you think the defensive line just performed without him?
Yeah, I thought Bam Bam, Tay, Red, Joe Head, all four of those guys did some really good things. We're going to need all four of those guys to play really well this week with what we're going to get on the other side of the ball. It's going to be a huge point for Saturday's game is being great against the run, being great on early downs, and we're going to need the D-line to play in a great way.
Colin?
In your experience coaching, when you have a game like that where you're able to kind of open up the playbook and explore the depth chart a little bit more, how much does that help going forward, later into conference play and the rest of the season when you can evaluate those guys that you've got behind your starters?
Yeah, it's huge. Being able to reward those guys that go play. We play 40 different guys on special teams who are really clean from a substitution standpoint. So seeing those things play out the way they did was really good to see. Being able to play all those guys on teams so that creates depth later for us in the season on, man, who's another guy that's got the ability to go run down on kickoff or do a great job on pump block, whatever it is, that's huge for us as we continue to move it forward.
AJ?
Now we're going way off topic here. There's a bakery in town that has a cupcake called the Lebby. It's a chocolate cake stuffed with cream cheese Oreo and topped with cookies and cream icing and chocolate ganache. Did you have any input in the creation of this cupcake?
I think my wife did,
Okay.
but I need to stay away.
Okay.
But I do appreciate the shout out.
Steve?
You played a lot of running quarterbacks, and it's a little different, I guess. They run some zone read concepts in Northern Illinois, but when you look at this offense, I mean, a lot of wildcat stuff and the end arounds and stuff. Like, what kind of stands out to you when you look at them offensively?
Physicality and the two running backs that they're playing with. Obviously, the transfer 10 and 45. Both these guys are guys that have they really got the ability to make some chunk plays, but they've got real physicality in their game. And it's going to take game tackling the entire day for us to get done what we want to get done. We've got to create great knockback so that they're off timing from a run scheme standpoint. But again, they're going to try to control the clock. They're going to run the football. They've been really good at what they do. Their recipe is exactly what it is, and we've got to do a great job countering that.
Danny?
Coach, Fluff got the bulk of your carries, almost had 100 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Was it just a matter of him having the hot hand, you just kept going to him early?
Yeah, it was, and then as we were rolling those guys, Vaughn ended up being in on some of the short fields after getting the returns, and so that's just how that part of it played out.
James?
What's it gonna take to continue to develop the kind of depth necessary to not only finish with an undefeated non-con, but get the most you can out of SEC play?
Yeah, it's all about how we practice. That's how you create development. Obviously, you've got to go play the game to be able to create trust. We're playing a bunch of guys. We've been able to play a bunch of guys in the first 3 weeks. We want to continue to be able to play fresh and fast and be violent both sides of the ball. So how we practice has got to be advantage us. The physicality on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, how we prepare, that is how we'll continue to create the depth we need.
Hey Coach, Thompson's been your number one guy. What's been the biggest difference in unlocking his potential here versus his time at Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think, again, just from a system standpoint, obviously having Blake being an older guy, we knew really exactly what we were getting. Again, if you watch the tape from him last year, the kid is open nonstop and played a ton of football. He didn't have a lot of production, but he was open a lot. And again, I had him that first year when I was in Norman. He was banged up, but when he played, he had production. Just it was very, very limited. So there's just no surprise by what's going on with him.
Roger?
Coach, we talked about Seth Davis the other day, and it was a feel-good story and all that, but at the end of the day, he's a really explosive player that could come out in this offense too. I mean, for his future now here in your offense, what do you see from him and his role in this offense, whether it be this year or beyond?
Yeah, the hope is that he can get all the way back healthy, and he's not there yet, and he knows that. Our medical team, you talk about doing an unbelievable job with the young man. Has just been incredible to see what Thomas and his entire staff and our docs have been able to get done with Seth. And he's closer than he's ever been, but he's still not all the way there, man. The hope is that this guy can get truly back to 100% healthy, because he can be a problem.
Steve?
3 games and 3 different offensive line starters, kind of musical chairs there. I know you're probably more eager than anybody to get that settled, but do you worry a little bit about cohesion a little bit when they haven't had a lot of game reps as a unit?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's again, for us, that's something that's going to be a huge part of our success offensively, is playing the way we need to play up front. And we have. It's been musical chairs. Hopefully having Albert back, if he'll be able to go practice tomorrow and Wednesday, that will be huge. And then we can settle in. We do want to still rotate, interior at the guard position to be able to, again, be fresh, but we've got to settle on these 7 to 8 guys max to be able to go roll and go do what we want to do.
Anything else for Coach? All right,